This has been ongoing since 1959, the illegal occupation and then the extreme oppression, right? And there are ways to erasing Tibetans' identity, our history, our religion, our culture, and our language, right? So just recently, on July 1st, the day before self-immolation of the Lobga Rangzen, a policy, the ethnic unity law that was turned into it was a policy that was turned into law, ethnic unity law, which basically states holding your identity as a Tibetan is a crime. Speaking your language, Tibetan, is a crime. The only identity, the ethnic unity, right? So the only identity one can hold in Tibet is Chinese, and the only language one can speak is Mandarin. So holding your identity, speaking your language is a crime. And the ongoing, so the illegal occupation by the Chinese government and the ongoing genocide, the ongoing tortures, there's no visibility to the world on what the Chinese government is doing to the Tibetans, right? So we have live footages by our brothers and sisters in Tibet, right? And despite knowing the consequences of the Chinese government to them, right, on their actions, they are doing their best to send footages to us so the brothers and sisters, so the people outside Tibet, right, people with the platform, people with the freedom can speak for them, can speak for the voiceless. And so there was colonial boarding school, right? So over 1 million Tibetan kids, they are forcibly separated from families, and the families don't have any rights over the kids, and they are separate. They're admitted to boarding schools, just turn Chinese, right? And then when they return, the Tibetan, like the kids, are aliens to their families, right? So they're turned Chinese, kind of like the boot camps, like the military boot camp to turn young Tibetan kids, brainwash them into turning them into Chinese. And so that's what's going on right now, right? The officials in Tibet, they are Tibetans working for the Chinese government, turned Chinese basically. And there's no rights for religion. People cannot hold a picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, our God, our Guru. It's a crime to hold a picture of His Holiness, to keep a picture of His Holiness. And they constantly check your household, right? Just come in, just check without any notice or anything, just walk in. And if you're caught with a picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, you're kind of taken in. That's been ongoing, right? And yet the world, the US, the government, right, outside of Tibet, no action's being taken. And the Chinese government, they're continuing on with their movement, right, to erase our identity, erase Tibetan history, Tibetan religion, our language. And so this is a desperate cry. This is the first one outside of Tibet, outside of Nepal and India, and the second ever self-immolation in the US. And there was a reason he did it in front of the United Nations. This is supposedly where the world leaders are. This is where the conferences are held. So we're asking for the world to see us, to hear us, and to request the Chinese government, to tell the Chinese government to have a dialogue with the Tibetan leaders, right? Because nothing's been happening. There's no push from the government, from the leaders, the world leaders. And we're asking for human rights, we're asking for justice, we're asking for independence. Tibet was a free country. It was a country that the Chinese government, the Chinese illegally invaded, occupied. Right? So we're asking for our freedom back, we're asking for our independence, we're asking for human rights, and we're asking for the world leaders to support us, right? And for awareness, public awareness, because there's no visibility, right? No one knows about the genocide that's happening in Tibet by the Chinese government, because everything's been covered, right? There's no visibility, they're not being accounted for their actions. So this happened on July 2nd, 2026, and since then we've been holding candlelight vigils, protests for public awareness, yet it's not out everywhere on the news, on media. So this is where it happened. You see the place? Right? So he went live on Facebook before he did it. He left a 6-minute message, a strong message, asking for the Tibetan people to stay united and to continue the fight for independence, to continue the fight for justice, because he was the ultimate advocate, right? So he left a strong 6-minute message, loud and clear, asking for people to be united and to continue the fight for justice, for independence, for free Tibet, as that's our right, right? He left it there. He went live on Facebook, and as he was doing it, he put on a full Tibetan traditional attire, and then he walked up. He left his phone over there, and he walked up with the Tibetan flag. He stood it. You see and then he had a paper with him, right? The 2 papers that said "Free Tibet, China out of Tibet," loud and clear. It was printed out, and right as he just throws it in the air, right? Free Tibet, China out of Tibet. Those were the slogans that were on the paper that there was no support. No one came by. There's a booth right there in front of United Nations. Cars just coming, honking like it's, there's no humanity. The young Tibetan kids around the world, right? We've had it was a global call, having constant meetings, right? Ways on how we can work ourselves better to get the voice, right? To make it visible for the people to see, so that we could get the support, right? We're asking for the world leaders, any people, any humans with the voice, with the platform to speak for Tibet, because the Tibetans inside Tibet, they don't have the platform, they don't have the basic human rights. They don't have the rights to their own identity, they don't have the rights to their own language, no religion rights, no nothing. There's no human rights at all. And it's our responsibility as human and as Tibetans to stand up for them, to speak for them. The fact that Chinese government is just going on, if it's not support, if no one intervenes, what do you call that? Like, if no one intervenes, that means everyone's supporting it, because that's
So people are looking the other way.
Yep.
Some nations.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if the people are not seeing it, or the people don't, just being silent, being quiet.
Is there anywhere where people can find out more information about your cause?
Of course. So there's International Campaign for Tibet. That's being constantly updated. It's a website that gives you details on the ongoing issues in Tibet. You have the QR code. It should be savetibet.org. But if you Google International Campaign for Tibet, you should see it. And then everything, like everything is strictly censored, like the Chinese government, right? So us, the people, when we protest, when we're out in the front, like Lobga Rangzen, he was always in the forefront. And he was the president. He was the sitting president of Tibetan National Congress, which is a non-profit organization. And he was the sitting president at the time of his sacrifice. And yeah, he's taken initiatives, leaderships, right? Actions, supporting with everything that's, for demonstration, protest, peaceful protest. If someone can hear it, they should hear it. If not now, I don't know what action it would take for the world leaders to see it, for them to hear it. For, America, right? This is the land of free, but we all have our histories, we all have our stories, how we came here. Like us Tibetans, we're immigrants, we're refugees. Tibetans in Tibet, they're struggling for the basic human rights that we're just taking for granted. So just a reminder for everyone to please look into history. It's our responsibility because we did not just get here out of the blue, right? There's a history, there's a story, right? So look into that and then contribute in different ways that you can, for awareness, right? And then intervene, like we're asking for the Chinese government to give us our country back, to give us the freedom, independence, have a dialogue with us. Asking the Chinese government to have a dialogue with the Tibetan leaders. Right, that would be the initial step. And then awareness, because everything's being hidden. The world does not see it, right? His father, his uncle, his grandfather, they were part of Chushi Kandu, which was a voluntary group that was formed during 1950s, 1959s, when the Chinese invaded Tibet to safely escort His Holiness the Dalai Lama to India. That was made possible because of thousands, millions of lives, right, that were sacrificed in the fight to make the way possible for His Holiness to safely escort to India. My message to the world, to anyone, to a human, is to take action, right? Because this is happening to our brothers and sisters, humans, Tibetans in Tibet, struggling for their independence, their basic rights to identity, human rights, no language rights, and the kids having no rights over their own children. Asking for people to please follow, please support the Tibetan movement, the Tibetan cause. This is not going to stop. This is just, the beginning. But it's been over 67 years, yet there's no action. So people need to act, we need to act, we need to step forward. We need to speak for human rights, we need to speak for justice. He was the sitting president of Tibetan National Congress at the time, and there was only 2 board members. With his passing, there's only 2 board members now. And I am one of the board members now. I volunteered myself to be part of the TNC. So we will be going forward, we will hold different workshops, different activities for awareness, for activism, for protest, demonstration, peaceful protest, right? Like hunger strikes, whatever it is that we need, we will be hosting. And then we ask for the people to support, people to show up, speak for justice, speak for independence, speak for human rights. Not to take the rights that you have for granted, because people paid for it, we didn't just get here out of the blue. People had sacrificed, we've lost millions of lives for anyone to have gotten here. So think about the people who are still suffering, who are still fighting for basic human rights that we overlook here.
Shugudi timcha sabadre din number so marre shana adama jo message nandu nyamdo shesh
ethnic genocide. Repeal the ethnic unity and progress law.
Repeal the ethnic unity and progress law.
Repeal the ethnic unity and progress law.
Repeal the ethnic unity and
The ethnic unity and progress law. Come on,
We want freedom. Freedom, freedom. Free Tibet, free Tibet. Free Tibet, free Tibet. Rangzen Kyalo, Rangzen Kyalo. Rangzen Lobga Rangzen. Rangzen 우세 덥다이. Rangzen 우세 덥다이. 시권의 시교이. 시권의 시교이. Rangzen 제도 시교이. 대감 제도 시교이. Out, out, get out.
미추 단다 자미 순서 나올이야. 백순련소의 교주 익자 지혜제도 단다 퇴행래. 나버 정한수 교배 미드니야. 가마 정한 교배 미드니 교나.
justice for Lobga Rangzen. China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now. Break it up for baby. Free Tibet.
Council